Meet Manoj. He's 35, a civil engineer, and like a lot of us, he spends his days operating entirely on autopilot. He moves through office politics, endless spreadsheets, and his daily commute with the mechanical precision of someone who is physically present but entirely checked out. But then, one morning, the routine breaks. At exactly 4 a.m., long before his alarm is set to ring, his eyes snap open. There is no loud noise, no sudden nightmare. He is simply sharply awake. This dual line graph of the brain's chemical cycles shows exactly what is happening to him. The blue line represents dropping levels of melatonin, the hormone responsible for keeping us asleep. At the exact same time, the red line shows a rising surge of cortisol, priming the body for the day ahead. This specific biological intersection snaps the sleep cycle in half. But his brain doesn't just wake up, it shifts gears. During this early morning window, called the Brahma Muhurta in Eastern traditions, the brain is dominated by alpha and theta wave frequencies. These are specific electrical rhythms highly optimized for deep reflection and intense focus. Because the outside world is completely silent at this hour, this sudden biological alertness creates a psychological vacuum. Without emails to check or traffic to navigate, Manoj is forced into a direct, unavoidable confrontation with the inside of his own head. Lying in the dark, he decides to try a simple experiment. He tries to observe what he is thinking. He focuses his attention backward, trying to catch the very last thought he had right before falling asleep. But the moment he reaches for a memory about an office file, it instantly turns into an image of an old friend's face. When he tries to hold on to the face, it shifts into a random worry about what to eat for breakfast. Looking at this visualization of neural activity, you can see what he's experiencing in real time. The brain is rapidly firing ideas, connecting and disconnecting networks completely on its own. He realizes he cannot stop this process. The mind is generating traffic without his permission. This triggers a deeply unsettling question. If your mind is producing thoughts independently of your conscious will, then who exactly is driving the car? We spend our lives assuming we are the authors of our thoughts, but the uncomfortable truth Manoj discovers in the quiet of his bedroom is that we are all living inside a house occupied by strangers, completely oblivious to the fact that our core identity is an illusion. To figure out who is actually in control, we have to systematically deconstruct the human experience. Let's start with the first, most obvious layer, the body. Think about your standard morning routine. You stumble into the bathroom, turn on the faucet, brush your teeth, navigate your commute, and sign paperwork at your desk. You execute all of these actions out of sheer habit, without a single active thought. The body is a highly trained biological automaton. It breathes, digests food, pumps blood, and navigates physical space entirely on its own. It doesn't need you to actively operate it. Then we peel back the second layer. We like to think of the mind as a subservient tool we wield to solve problems, but it is actually a separate, autonomous entity. When you sit quietly and watch it work, you start to notice the psychological terror of this setup. The mind is a runaway train, constantly generating banal questions, looping anxieties, and sudden judgments out of thin air. Exhaustion often stems from the constant, invisible effort of trying to control these two autonomous machines, the body and the mind, while claiming their every movement as our own. We are effectively fighting a war against ourselves, which leads directly to the burnout and dread we feel at the end of a long day. This leads to the ultimate deductive question. If you are not the body performing physical actions, and you are not the mind generating thoughts, then what exactly is left? There is a third, deeper layer to the human experience, known in ancient traditions as Sakshi Bhav, or the witness. The witness is the silent, unmoving entity within you. It doesn't think, and it doesn't act. It merely observes the physical sensations of the body and the chaotic traffic of the mind, without participating and without judging. Aligning with this third layer provides the first tangible distance between the self and the internal machinery. By shifting focus to this observational state, a person can begin to reclaim their psychological autonomy from the habits of the body and the mind. There is a real psychological danger in this realization. Abruptly separating yourself from your own mind without proper grounding can trigger severe feelings of fragmentation. If you stare too long at the void, reality itself can start to feel fake, leading to a state of derealization. Awakening involves a slow, methodical, and often painful process of peeling back habits built over a lifetime. Meditation functions as the active, continuous art of seeing. It is much more than a specific physical posture held in a quiet room. It is a state of being that persists through movement and noise. It means actually tasting the texture of a simple meal, or sitting at your desk after a workplace failure, watching your own anger rise in your chest, and simply letting it fade away without reacting to it. True spirituality does not require you to escape into a cave in the Himalayas. It requires you to remain fully conscious, observing the world while actively navigating its everyday frustrations. Life's ultimate friction often comes from ignoring our internal machinery in favor of external metrics like promotions, money, or social status. When you stop fighting your autonomous mind, a profound shift occurs. You stop fearing the stranger living inside your head, and instead you begin to observe it as a familiar friend. It's a balance between two realms. Awareness without science is blind, and science without awareness is lame. We all share our bodies with an unknown entity. The question isn't whether that stranger exists. The question is, are you ready to meet the stranger inside you? And when you do, who are you, really?